What's up? It's bombweapon.com here. Just shooting a video. Today I want to talk about the United States and more about how much all the stuff you see in fantasy movies, sci-fi, is actually real. It's based on how government is operating in secret. And these ideas for movies and books come from the government's operation. Pretty much almost always have. Very frequently. It's labeled as fantasy, but it could be labeled as fiction. But it's pretty much fiction, like totally non-fictional. And like, here's an example of something I've been talking about recently. I noticed that the military, the police, and secret forces in the world, they have technology vastly ahead of the public. But just like that movie Star Trek and the TV show Star Trek, they have something called the Prime Directive, but it's kind of more secretive. It's more like classified, whatever they call it. It's a level of classification that keeps it going. So they have all this advanced technology, and their rule is do not disturb the primitive human life or other life forms that we come across. Do not let them know of our presence. Do not let them have our technology. Don't let them see our technology. And this is to keep the primitive populations that they come across in the dark. Now you may be going, hey, well, on our planet, we all just sit here on planet Earth, right? Where's all the other life forms that we're trying to keep this from? Well, it's the typical American citizen that we're keeping this from. They look at us as we're primitive life forms. They have all this technology that they've invented, and the general population isn't allowed to know about it. They have quantum systems mastered. They've mastered engineering. They can invent Star Trek level starships. They have that level of technology already. They've already built it. They've got the ability to fly to the sun and not be blown up or irradiated by the sun. They can go to other planets and survive there. We have technology that remotely scans, just like the Enterprise, except it's more advanced. In the TV series, they'll be doing remote scans. Oh, 5 life forms detected on the planet. Well, this technology works the same way, and they have that already. And it's more advanced. It goes into your brain. It monitors vital signs, memories, thought. It does universal translation. So if you have a person or a life form that uses Spanish or Japanese or Elvish language, or their own language in their own head, they can still be monitored, and English people can understand what they're saying and thinking and stuff. Now, they've tapped into the primitive communication system of ourselves, of machines, of brains. Their technology is so much more advanced than ours. They can kill people in stealth, and no one will know it wasn't a heart attack or a stroke. They can make someone kill themselves, take a knife to their head and cut it off. Or even bake cyanide into their own food and eat it. They can make someone hang themselves. They have that much control of people now. This is today. This is 2017. But it's not even 2017. This was 2008 and they had this technology. They had it in 2007. And they probably had it in the 70s. It was getting started. They were building it up. They probably had it in the 60s and the 40s. They were building it up. They had different, more primitive versions of some of this. And over time, television has been there, movies. The military sends people out of it. Like, or sometimes they invite someone in to learn about this, the secrets, just so they can go write a movie, right? And then you have, and plus the military collaborates with the film studios on this shit. And they create these massive films, and we all think it's fantasy, but surprisingly, I have traced it back. Some stuff is fantasy, clearly, but more and more so in the recent times. And they have something called, like, there's a whole liaison office in the military for TV, media, movie production. And they screen the scripts. They provide rewrites, and then they also say, put in something like this. We need some pro-military shit here. But they want to train your brains. One of the objectives is to get you thinking like them without knowing that you're on the same level. You don't know that the military is on the same level. They need people that think like this, so they're training people to think like this. And then not everyone knows that they're being trained. They're being allowed to see some actual real stuff in a movie that they've never seen in real life before until they get to the military. But they think they can influence the human consciousness to get people to think certain ways when they're young through movies and film and stuff, and video games and other crap. So they write characters that think certain ways and talk certain ways to modify human behavior. So in the future, it's more effective in the long term. So in the future, whole races can be completely changed. The whole civilization can be radically changed to whatever they want. In the short term, people change too. You can, 5-10 years, you can have a whole lot of society changed. Behaviors changed. Things people are doing are changed. The way they talk, things they're thinking about. I think we've witnessed this in the past, from the 90s to the 2000s to the, 2010s. People radically changed. They became more tax savvy, for example. That was programmed into people. They were not tech savvy people. They rejected technology for many years. It was kind of funny to compare a tax savvy person to like a regular citizen at some point. And now pretty much they got everyone on the same page almost. People do learn, but you can control that learning process. You can control the developmental processes inside of people. There's this Prime Directive. They walk around the earth, they have this advanced technology, and they hide it from everybody, so they're in the dark and they don't know they're being controlled. They don't know the internet is controlling them, the TV, movies are controlling them, But the schools, the books are controlling them. The teachers are controlling them. The doctors are controlling them. The police are controlling them. The court officials. The public defenders. It's this massive weapon they've built. They've brought a lot of people in. So many people, they switch over at some point to being one of the insiders that know. The government brings them in, gives them a job, tells them secrets, tells them they have to keep a secret, tells them they have to do things to certain people in secret, and they do it. There's a whole system of control where they can target any individual wherever they're at. But yeah, in the movie Star Trek, you would see, Enterprise show up to a planet, and the planet has no starships. They don't even know there's other life out there yet, right? And that's when, you got Jean-Luc Picard talking about, oh, yeah, we're not supposed to have interaction with them. We can't let them know of our presence. In the movie Insurrection, the government, they went down to the planet in secret because they thought, okay, well, we could do this operation because we'll be invisible. We can get very close to them and run around their planet and their civilization in secret. And that's exactly what they're doing today on Earth. They've found a way to go invisible. Most of this is done by their remote sensing technologies. They can have a presence locally by remotely viewing them, by scanning them with fucking magnetic resonance imaging and fucking electron spin resonance and shit, quantum and interferometry, so they can watch anyone, and then they can bring in people who are trained to be lay people and send them secret information and tell them to do this and that, and they can manipulate. It's like almost becomes like a Truman Show. So just like the Truman Show, it's where in the Truman Show movie, it's kind of interesting, that concept there was only the main lead character didn't know he was in a movie or a TV show or something, and everyone else around him knew he was. They were actors paid to manipulate him. So that's what's going on in real life. You've even seen this same concept in like the movie John Wick. John Wick 2. I just saw that movie. In John Wick 2, they have that secret network of spies everywhere. Homeless spies, fucking janitor spies, and there's a secret society. That's real. They got that. Now in John Wick 2, you get to see, they show that the technology, communication networks all over, cell phones, secret fucking telephone networks, internet networks, or whatever. In real life, they have that too. But they also have this thing called synthetic telepathy. And that's where your brain gets scanned. And it's just like, it's kind of funny. This is another movie they show some of this shit in. There's a movie, Ghost in a Shell, and they showed, and I don't know if it's the first time they showed this, but the synthetic telepathy, they had brain links. So everything you think, a computer, a machine is scanning your brain in real time. Software is decompiling your brain, decrypting it in real time, and then it has the essence of your thoughts, your memories, your visuals, your audio, your emotions, all your everything, and your then it sends that into somebody else, into their head, and they're hearing and sensing the person's thoughts. That's the most secret of communication networks. So these agents are out in the street using this to communicate. And there's different levels of the system. I don't know everyone who's involved, but some people, either, I know for a fact the cops have this technology, but I don't know if they've given this to the people at the stores yet. They have store clerks and security guards that work at the store clerks, okay, secretly. Not just the security guards, but I'm talking about the people you interact with to make purchases. You know, like the jewelry store. They've given people at the jewelry store knowledge of covert operations and involve them in this type of shit. The Starbucks employees, they're trained to watch every fucking person on American soil, but they'll target Pacific people who come in too. So they have this network of communicating even to the goddamn Starbucks employees to watch this motherfucker. Starbucks are vast. They're all over the country. They know that people that they want to target are going to end up in one, perhaps. They know that someone's going to end up in a goddamn Safeway. They know that someone's going to end up, you know, wherever they end up. Now, the international components to this is going on all over the fucking world. But I don't know how much of the world, the percentage of the world. Where can you go and get away from this network? I don't know. I don't know if it's possible. And if you think about it, you have 7.5 billion people. You only need a percentage of the population involved to run this. And you can leave everyone else in the dark. Or only tell them so much. So I was told things about this shit. I was even told that some of my family members were involved in this network before I was made a target. I guess my family members were part of the security network. I found out like every public defender in the country you can't get an attorney who ain't involved in this almost. And I don't know for sure if there's even one that isn't involved in this. But I don't even give a shit because I keep trying to attack it with the limited amount of power that I have. But yeah, with all this really going on, there is a Prime Directive. There are some people that don't know this is going on, and they're the victims of it. I'm one of those victims. Now, I was made aware of this shit because they were spying on me so obviously, and things were happening. There wasn't a person that wouldn't pick up this was happening to them. But what they wanted to do was set me up to look psychotic and go crazy. They wanted to bury me for knowing what they were doing and that they were doing this shit. And knowing not that my own family would save me. My own family sucked anyway. I went back in the CIA literature and I found they would look for people who are victims to target and victimize them and put them in like mind control programs in the first place. They always knew how to pick their targets. So with me, they realized this probably before they started fucking with me, that my support network wasn't strong enough, that I wouldn't be able to survive on my own. They realized that my family members were all pieces of shit and already on the payroll anyway. You know, I wouldn't be able to turn to them. See, the government, they don't want to go out and shut down injustices just because they know the injustice is there. That's why people don't ever see any action. They're always like, why do bad things happen? And they're like, why do bad things happen to good people? You know? And it's because nobody gives a fucking shit about you or your problems or what's happening to you. And they don't give a shit about the criminals that are doing these things. This is a criminal country. It's just like that movie John Wick 2. These people, look at how fucking trained and skilled they were. They were fucking assassins ready to collect offers of money and shit. The people we have on planet Earth are trained the same way. They're ready to collect payments. That's pretty much all they fucking do. That's the whole objective in life anymore. Collect fucking paychecks from people who are willing to employ them. And you basically can't get away from this. Every goddamn employer in America is involved. So if you want a check, you're gonna suck dick. You're gonna fucking go and do whatever they fucking want. Otherwise, they got a system for you. They will put you in a mental hospital or prison, or you can live on the streets homeless. Or you can die. Or you can even get swept under the rug and tortured and targeted and shit. They've got a whole setup for us. But none of this was explained to me in school. No one gave me any options. They built the system so bare bones that only percentage of people could possibly survive it. And they know that they only need so many people to work for them. So they don't give a shit if the whole population makes it or only a percentage does. So they've designed it, they've crafted it. They're like, we only need so many people to get through college and to work for us in our shops and shit anyway. So what does it matter if, 40% or 50% or 30% get all fucked up? Who cares? We'll build the system up so it pushes so many percentages out. And that's what they've done. And notice there's no choice. If you resist this or you don't fit in the system, you're going to get put in one of those categories. Targeted, tortured, mental hospital, prison, homeless, on the streets, desolate, drop out of work or school, end up dead, end up with sicknesses. They created that class to handle it. It's like they think it's like a scientific recycling mechanism of Earth. Well, all of these fucking people are going to be recycled. They're going to be they're going to die, end up in the ground, and become grass. And the fucking cow's going to eat that grass, and then we're going to eat that fucking cow. That's the way they fucking think. They don't give a shit. It's a whole strategy of controlling the populace from subconscious to consciously their whole lives. No fucking joke. They've built this infrastructure up, and the government infrastructure has been completely subverted. This is the secret infrastructure that actually is there. And then there's the crappy fake government one, and there's a lot of psyops coming from that. It's all fake information. So you can't fucking figure this shit out until you get deep in their program. You have to be brought into it too. They have to show you this. They have to want you to figure it out. And in a way, that's to torture you, because once you figure it out, you're going to go the way of the dodo bird, probably. You're not going to get free of it. They let you know so it could sit there in your mind and torture you even more. The more years you are in the program, you start bombing people, shooting people, killing yourself and shit. They want you to kill yourself and others. You weren't supposed to go file this information wasn't provided to go file a big civil lawsuit and win and tear them down and have the Chief Justice give a shit about you. The Chief Justice was running the whole game, man. He already knew what was happening. He shut it down because he didn't want it shut down. All these people could break character and then start talking about this publicly, but they won't do it. It's all classified. There's a system of punishing people who know about it and do talk about it. Okay, look at Edward Snowden. He's in fucking Russia with asylum, and they want to give him the death penalty or go and assassinate him. And then you have fucking that chick who just leaked the documents on Donald Trump and connections to Russia. She's Dude, look at her. They want her to have the death penalty over sending one document to the media. That reality winner. And then Chelsea Manning just spent fucking 8+ years in prison. Look at fucking WikiLeaks. Okay, Julian Assange is in a motherfucking prison. Ecuadorian embassy in UK. I mean, so that's really what will happen. If you work for the government and you threaten them, you'll either end up dead, secretly killed, kill yourself, heart attack, stroke, or end up like on the run. Different shit. The government's so dangerous. Okay. So people, even inside the government, knows it's so dangerous. They know it's operating on this level of dangerousness. And it's just like, you have to have a switch. If you want society to suddenly become peaceful, you need something that switches it over to more peaceful. And so far, our society, it ain't becoming more peaceful. And there seems to be some people that want it to become more peaceful. Edward Snowden coming out with documents, he's trying to shift the society's thinking over, hey, stop being fucking murdering rape ball fucks, keeping all this secret. Let some of it out. Get rid of the Prime Directive shit. Let this fucking information out. Dr. Robert Duncan did the same thing. He reached millions of people, but nobody gave a shit because the bulk of the society was fucking hardcore murdering rapists, torturing pieces of shit. They weren't going to change their thinking. Just because one man, Robert Duncan, thought this was wrong, and maybe the people running the radio show were like, yeah, this is hardcore crazy, this government's fucking insane. I don't trust our government, do you? I mean, I want to trust it, but I don't. You know, of course. This government's fucking insane. You can't trust it. It's operating on the level we say it fucking is. And the Republicans, they're the ones with the biggest stake in this shit. They're making so much money because all the secrets that they have at the highest levels, they introduce piecemeal technologies and shit. They're profiting off it. They're going over to the secrets, they're pulling something out, they're making a crappy consumer mind control device like the iPhone or the Android phone. And society is just under total control. The new manufacturing process that makes computers smaller, you know, new quantum capabilities, it's all coming from the military. The military has everything planned out for 40 years. But what the Republicans are doing and the corporate leaders, they're pulling small tidbits out and they're giving a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, even though the military is fucking 40 years ahead already. Because they can control the profits and control the money in society easier. And they have created themselves it's like a faction. They've created themselves a nice little, where they're like ahead of everyone, unlimited funding, nicest houses, people doing labor for them. They've managed to control this information and system for themselves. They're the most resistive to change. They want to put us in prison more than the Democrats do. And the Democrats are a little more open to sometimes letting the information out. But it really depends on the person. The person has to want to let it out. They have the capability. They're fully informed of all this already. They're intelligent. They know what's going on. But many other Democrats continue to not want to talk about this. Occasionally they do, though, and when they do it when they're together. They might bring up a whole bill called the Space Preservation Act 2001. They're talking about banning some of this shit, but notice the bill was going to ban some of the stuff I'm talking about. But mostly when they're putting radiation into people, they're mind controlling them and shit from space with this. They're going to allow remote sensing of people's brain cells. The bill specifically mentions that. remote sensing and reconnaissance would not be banned by the bill. So they were going to continue to allow spying and control of everybody, but not putting voices in their head. Like, the current system allows that. Congress, when they voted on this bill, they were deciding, are we going to continue to allow our government to put voices in people's heads, or are we going to ban it? And they chose to continue to allow it. Congress voted on this already. They voted on it 3 times. But this bill was designed to target specifically what happened to me. The targeting that's happened to me was on a whole other level. Multiple layers of targeting, all sorts of layers of targeting were used on me. But they thought about banning the stuff where they're irradiating my body, putting voices and dreams in my head, and said that they're going to continue to allow other types of targeting, which aren't as severe. This is the most severe imprisonment they can do. If they want to do it under the table and get you, this is the most intense they can do. I've now been in their system, the most intense level of targeting for 8 years. It's truly a prime directive. See, they're keeping this shit secret. They do disclose it, but it's all overtly disclosing it. And they admit it. So you know everyone knows about it already. And they even directly admit it, knowing that no one will care if they do. And the worst type of, the rarest admission is where all the documents are dumped or something. That's because there's no true whistleblowers on this yet. Besides maybe like Robert Duncan. He chose a different route. He said, I'm not going to disclose the documents. But what I'll do is I'll collect all the information that's publicly available and I'll tell you the story of it. And that's what he did. And I'll even tell you the story exactly how it's really happening to people. He told it in his books. The Matrix Deciphered book, which the whole thing came from him, it describes what it's like to be walking around having voices put in your head from goddamn satellite or military radar and radiation on your body and shit. And yet you still have to go about your life with it. There's no better book. That book's like written by a PhD. It's so fucking well written. It describes it perfectly. To get an idea. I mean, it's not accurate to my story 100%. My story a little different. But mostly accurate. Like, it's just slightly different perspective. Because he's describing in his work